Anthony Leon coming to you from Ryde Chiropractic. This is my first live Facebook video, and I thought I would tackle a few topics that are kind of not related but are related, and you'll find them really interesting. And they are samurai swords, being active, the science of happiness, and back pain. If you're watching this, say hello, share and like as we go, and hope you enjoy this. So first of all, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've been reading recently a few articles, a few research papers in the Lancet, which were about back pain. And they basically, one of the small points that they brought up a lot of good points, is that being active is really important in preventing back pain and in the treatment of back pain. So when it comes to being active, of course, has partly to do with exercise. And so being active is really important for not just preventing back pain, of course. Being active is really important for health and well-being overall. So why would that be? Well, if you think about it, your body expects you to exercise. Your body expects you to be active. Remember, we have the genetics of our hunter-gatherers from about 40,000 years ago, and what we did all the time was hunt and gather. We were very active. We were always moving about. But these days, we sit at our desks, at our computers, on our phones, watch TV. We're very sedentary, and we hardly get out as much as we used to. So as you can imagine, that affects our body and our health mentally and physically overall. And what it does to our bodies is it can make our bodies deconditioned. Now, what do you think? Do you think if your body is conditioned, well-conditioned, like a hunter-gatherer, or if your body is deconditioned by sitting at a desk all day, which person is more likely to have back pain or chronic back pain? I think the answer is pretty obvious. You're more likely to get problems with your back if you're sitting all day like we do these days. So being active is really important in preventing that. But not just that, it's a huge part of also being happy. So when it comes to choosing a form of exercise, in the end, it's about choosing something that lights you up, that makes you happy, or at the very least, something that you can tolerate. So when it comes to exercise, we'll talk about why it's so important in making you happy, not just about why it's important to prevent back pain. Well, when it comes to that, let me talk to you about the science of happiness itself. And there are a lot of gurus out there, a lot of videos and self-help things, but I'm going to focus on what is actually a model that has been proposed by Martin Seligman, Dr. Martin Seligman, who is the founding father of positive psychology. Now, as you know, psychology is usually about like problems, mental problems, depression, things like depression and schizophrenia, things like that. But the positive psychology is about what makes people happy, what lights people up, what gives you a positive experience emotionally in your life. And there's a model that he proposed, which I'm going to go through very briefly, about how to live a happy life. And there's 5 elements, and it's called the PERMA model. P for positive emotions, E for engagement, R for relationships, M for meaning, and A for accomplishment. Now, if you're lucky and you get to choose an form of exercise that covers all of them, you're going to do it not because it's good for your health. You're just going to do it because you love it. And if you're lucky enough to choose something that covers all 5 of those, or at least as many as they can, you will do very well with that. So let's start with the P, positive emotions. Well, of course, positive emotions are really important to having a happy life. So feelings of joy, feelings of gratitude, feelings of closeness to others. These are things that can make our lives feel good overall. So you want that in your life, of course. Engagement. You want to be engaged in whatever you're doing. So whether it be your work, your sport, playing with your kids, if you're in the moment, in the zone, and doing that, and it's a little bit challenging, but not too challenging that you just want to give up, that sort of engagement or flow is really, really important for helping people stay happy as well. and having good relationships in your life. So it doesn't have to be family necessarily, or even close friends. Relationships can even be weak ties. Now, there was a study done that asks the question of what makes people live longest, what is actually really important for longevity. And the answers were quite surprising. The number one thing that made people live a long time were weak ties, weak relationships. And that is talking to the person you pass on the street, talking to the person who maybe makes your coffee, or who serves you at a restaurant. Maybe it could be anybody, your neighbors. So those are weak ties. And the second one was close relationships. Your best, the people you can count on one or two hands that will be there for you no matter what. And that can be family, of course, and close friends, and maybe colleagues too. So those two parts are extremely important for having a happy life, relationships. The next one is meaning. Meaning is so important in our lives because a lot of the time people get caught up in thinking about money or the pursuit of pleasure. But in the end, you want to have a deeper meaning to what you're doing, and that could be taking care of the people that you love. It could be trying to be the best in what you're doing. Whatever the meaning is, if you can find it, it will make a big difference. If you've read The Man's Search for Meaning, it's a book written by a psychiatrist who was in the refugee camps during World War II. He spoke about the sort of people that survived during in the concentration camps and the people who didn't. And one of the major things that he found for people who did survive was that they had meaning, and they didn't lose their meaning despite all the atrocities that they were seeing around them. So meaning is a huge part of being happy. And A is accomplishment. And accomplishment, of course, is achieving goals, ambitions, and even small things, little wins throughout your life as well. So if you add all that up, the PERMA model gives you an overall guide to how to be happy. So how does that relate to being active? Well, as I said, if your activity covers all of those, it won't just be good for your physical health, it'll be good for your happiness as well. And I've been very lucky to find kendo. Kendo is Japanese fencing, and I've been doing that for the last 9 years or so. And it covers all the bases there. Most definitely there are positive emotions. It's so much fun. You definitely engage when someone's trying to hit you over the head with a big bamboo stick. You will pay attention so that you can hit them back and not be hit. Relationships, well, of course have an engagement with the person and a relationship with the person that you're fighting against. And because we don't really hurt each other, it's a positive relationship, and we have a good relationship with our teachers, our seniors, our juniors, and the people at the same level as ourselves. And of course, meaning. Meaning is interesting in kendo, and that it could be reduced to just sword fighting and techniques how to kill somebody. But in the end, kendo is more about improving the human character. And that's what I find extremely interesting, in that it gives a meaning, a positive meaning, other than just hurting somebody. It's a meaning that you can carry throughout your whole life, and a philosophy of your life. And accomplishment, well, if you've been doing it a while, you'll get to improve in your level of kendo, improve in your grade, and get results in competitions, and even just improving and techniques a little bit at a time. So that, for me, is a really important part of what keeps me happy and active. And how does this all relate back to back pain again? Well, being active, as I said, is really important for part of the treatment and the prevention of back pain. So if you can find the activity that you love to do, or activity that at the very least that you can tolerate, that covers as many of those PERMA points as you can, you will not just have an active life, you will not just have a happy life, but you'll also be preventing back pain and being healthy overall as a result. So I've covered a lot of bases there. We've only scratched the surface. I hope this video was useful for you. If you did enjoy it or get something out of it, please click like and share. And otherwise, I'll see you next time.